What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of 90210 For Show. That's right, it's a fucking podcast on the hit 90s to 2000 show Beverly Hills 90210. That's right, I'm 41, almost 42-year-old fucking white male in his basement with his German Shepherd doing podcast on 90210 from the 90s. That's the type of time I got in my life. Always such a big fan of it, and let's get into this. So, this episode right here is an oldie but a goodie. All right, it's called the Spring Dance. I'm pretty sure what it's called here, and that's what it is, guys. It's a spring dance that the kids are going to. So this episode right here, it's showing like who's going to the dance. You going to the dance? You're doing that whole thing. I remember when I was a kid. And there was dances. I remember there was a young lady named Jamie. I don't want to say her last name, but yeah, she came up to me when I was in 10th grade. And she was like, Eric, you going to the dance? And I'm like, no. She was like, you want to go to the dance? I said, no. And it wasn't because of her. I mean, it sounds like such a dick just even saying that. But I wasn't going to go. I wish it would have sounded a little bit better. You know what I'm saying? But so all these kids here at 90210, that's what they're doing. They're going to the spring dance. So Andrea's kind of hitting around like, Brandon, what are you doing? And Brandon's like, I ain't gonna go, bitch. He ain't really saying that, but I mean, you know what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. And so Andrea, at this point, at the beginning of the episode, thinks that, Brandon and her just gotta sit around, eat popcorn, and maybe finger bang each other. You know what I'm saying? Oh, that's inappropriate, Eric. Come on. there's other 40-plus-year-old, late 30s people that are like, yeah, I don't talk like that. I'm not listening to it. Yeah, just strap on, okay? So this episode's pretty good, man. You know what was amazing? At the beginning of the episode, they're trying to find like the prom queen or something like that, and David Silver's on the radio station that goes to the speakers throughout the whole place, and he's like, he talks, and the luscious ladies that win the whatever thing contest to maybe be the prom queen or spring queen, the luscious ladies. Like, you could never call somebody like luscious ladies at all, right? Like, you could never be like, oh, these luscious. That would be like, I don't know what that'd be. I'm too stupid to know what it would be, but it would be something, right? Where they're like, they're calling us luscious. Like, what is that, right? Because luscious does kind of sound sexual. And of course, Kelly Taylor's one of the luscious ladies, David Silver's such a big fan of Kelly Taylor, which I am too. Kelly Taylor, I'm not talking about now. I mean, she's a beautiful woman, but when Kelly Taylor was at West Beverly High, I mean, fucking A, man. She was a hot piece of ass. So let's cut to they're still doing hallway scenes here at the beginning. Steve walks up on this beautiful blonde. I was like, look, we always say hi to each other, And but you always give me the cold shoulder. And she goes, would you like to go out on a date? And she's like, yeah, sure, but in your car? And he was like, yeah, my Corvette. And she was like, no, thanks. I don't do Corvettes. Whoa! Right? When a hot piece of ass is like, I don't do Corvettes? I mean, that's straight up Beverly Hills, and she's a hot piece of ass, right? So then Brenda and Andrea are talking, right? And Andrea's like, no, me and Brandon ain't going. We're just going to sit around eating popcorn and kind of, maybe play the little flirt game and grab a boner. You know what I'm saying? Grab a boner on my couch, all right? But guess what happens? As soon as Andrea thinks that, guess who comes in? Kelly, hot-ass Taylor, that's possibly going to be the spring queen, as Brandon fucking Walsh, if he wanted to go to the dance. And Kelly grabs his fucking hand. How does Kelly Taylor grab Brandon Walsh's hand? Ask him to go to the dance. How does Brandon not get a boner off that? I mean, how do you not? I mean, picture these are like young guys and like young people. And that's the move. That's the move. I remember a young lady at those ages. That's the move that the young women know. That all women know. It's like grab his hand. Grab his hand, because especially if you're like a young guy, like a young girl's grabbing your hand. I remember having that happen the first time like a young lady grabbed my hand. Boner City. I mean, I can't. Look, man, I really think that's what happens. I mean, that's the move too, right? And then Steve comes over there and is like, hey, Kel, I see that you're not going to go on you don't got a date. I don't got a date. Why don't we both hang out? Right? And guess what? Fucking Steve finds out right there that Brandon and Kelly Taylor are going to the fucking dance. Right? And Steve always takes everything so fucking personal. That's like the little bitch in Steve, and nothing against bitches out there. I know there's some bitches listening where they're like, he said bitch, and I'm like, yeah, well, I'm not talking about you. He's just acting like a little fucking, like, come on, Steve, why are you always crying about shit, right? Like, Steve, it's like, come on, you little rich kid, baby fuck, right? But that's how Darren Star wrote it, I guess, because that's who wrote this episode, the great Darren Star. So then, Brandon, to make his buddy Steve feel good, he goes, hey, why don't you ask Donna out? We'll all go to this dance as friends. And Steve's like, is that what you guys are doing? You're going as friends? And Kelly's like, Steve, stop being such a little dick. Right? So Donna goes, Andrea finds out that Brandon's going to go to the dance now, and she's kind of crushed, of course, because Andrea's like Steve, just always like a fucking drama queen, I'm so smart. I'm Andrea Zuckerman, and I'm so smart, and this it hurt my feelings, because, Andrea, guess what? You got to put yourself out there, honey, all right? You got to put, and Brandon did, badass Kelly Taylor walks up on Brandon, grabs his hand, says, you're going to have a real good time, Brandon. What's fucking Brandon supposed to do, Andrea? What's he supposed to do? Be like, we were going to watch Ghostbusters over at Andrea's grandma's house, right? Right? Some fucking 80s movie, We're going to watch my science project over at my grandma's house on VHS. So, but then Kelly Taylor comes up. Woo! So Andrea gives Brandon the cold shoulder, you know what I'm saying? Definitely gives him the cold shoulder. So the guys are out picking out clothes and stuff like that. Dylan, this little dirty dude, Dylan, says something to Steve while they're all trying on clothes, the classic scene and stuff, and they're trying on clothes, and Steve goes, yeah, Dylan, you're going to be at the hotel room the whole time with Brenda anyways, blah, 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 right? And then fucking Brandon's like, is that true? That's what's going to happen? And, Dylan in cool fashion, Dylan McKay, man, right? What a hot piece of ass Dylan McKay is, and he's just like, I don't kiss and tell, Brandon, right? As he's trying to be nice and polite, as he's about to fuck his sister and take her goddamn Brenda Walsh virginity. It's like, oh, what a gentleman, you fucking creep. They should have fought right there, Brandon. What a pussy Brandon is. It's like, dude, he's basically talking, he's gonna bang you, he's gonna take your little fucking sister's virginity. Ugh. If 90210 were like Mexican dudes, like if it was all Mexican cash, you know what I'm saying? Like where it was like, and some Mexican dude finds out that his buddy's gonna fuck his sister. Oh shit, it'd have been I'll tell you what, there'd be some fucking these dressing room fucking doors getting busted down. I'll tell you that much right now. But I'm not trying to get into that. But I guess these guys are trying to keep it cool. Or then the ladies. Let's get to this. Is a classic scene right here. Is where Brenda and Kelly and Donna are going to look at dresses, and there's every dress they walk down where they're like ugly, yuck. This is no, and then they're one by one like this is the best dress. This is the best dress. They turn around, and they pick out the same dress. Brenda and Kelly. What a fucking coincidence, right? Then both of them are like, no, you have it. You have it. It looks cheap to me. No, it looks like a knockoff. Whatever. Yeah, guess what happens? Fucking Donna buys a red dress that looks like she's like gonna fucking go to a goddamn Mexican wedding over there, and fucking Donna and Kelly act like they're not gonna buy the dress. Go home. Guess what? They both buy the dress. All right, and they lie to each other, and then when it comes time to get the dresses on and go to the fucking spring fucking dance, they're both wearing the same dresses. That doesn't go over well. All right, they're both like Brenda, Kelly, all right. That would never happen with guys. Like, guys, we don't give a shit. Like, if I show up with the fucking tuxedo, like, all tuxedos look the same. It's not like guys, like, they go and, because it's not about them, I guess, maybe, huh? We never know. So they have it out in the fucking, in the goddamn kitchen, and then they go, and then Kelly's being a little bit too dramatic, right? A little bit too dramatic. And they all go, they all take a cute little picture with, Steve, Donna, Brenda, Dylan, Kelly, Brandon. They take like a real little cute little picture like that, right? And then they go out to the spring fucking dance. All right, I really like this episode, man. This episode had some juicy stuff in it, right? They all show up. They get out of a limousine because that's what you did then. Remember those days you get a limousine, and Brandon or Dylan and Brenda are talking about their hotel room, right? They're fucking talking about the hotel room. They get to this fucking dance. A lot of white people are dancing and some fucking, whatever. So they're all dancing and stuff like that. And Dylan and Brenda are like, let's go to the room and get these fucking genitals out, right? Where they're just like, let's get these genitals out. And Dylan, he's been there before, but Brenda, she's still got her fucking V card. You know what I'm saying? I mean, Brenda's still got her V card. And I'll tell you what, there's a scene in this fucking at this dance, and Kelly and Brandon are dancing real close. I mean, like real close, nipple to nipple. You know what I'm saying? And then fucking Kelly is putting the sweets on Brandon. I mean, you can't do that to him. Earlier you grabbed his hand, now you guys are dancing. You got your bodies pressed up against each other. Young fucking Kelly Taylor, you gotta be kidding me. It's over with. Young Kelly Taylor, man. I mean, you didn't have any fucking chances of saying no, thank you. And then Brandon and Kelly, they fucking just like dirty kiss. Like Brandon's doing the I'm gonna act like I'm gonna bite your lip type move or something. It's like, you know what I'm saying? It's like skin porn type fucking kissing. And man, I tell you what, I keep bringing up boners, but I tell you what, I almost got a boner just watching this. I'm like, damn, 90210 was hitting it, dude. And also 90210, man, god damn, they are good at it. I'm trying to think of I'm trying to think on this episode, like what's the moral things here? I mean, I don't know if the girls bought the same dress and they lie to each other, but then they still overcome it. They definitely talk virginity in this episode, big time. So I mean, there's something that they're talking about, and I just nailed it. I just remembered why this episode. Oh. So this is a very important episode in the history of 90210. Okay, everybody, listen up. All right, so Steve Sanders sees Kelly and fucking Brandon over there kissing, like good. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's get those genitals out after this fucking dance fast, right? Right, so Steve comes over there and tries to break up the little party. Steve looks like he's got a little bit of a drink on. He was getting a little drink on. He's doing this cocky rich guy shit. And Brandon's like, "What's your deal, motherfucker? Huh? Like, what's your deal? You fucking rich boy, blonde vet driving fucking whiner." And then him and Brandon, they kind of go out to the hallway, like where the kitchen staff is at back there. You know what I'm saying? And this is why the history of this 90210 episode comes in. You know, and it's so important. This is the episode where Steve goes, "Man, I was out to dinner with Samantha Sanders like 6 months ago, and she just kind of tuned up and had some drinks. And she said 20 years ago, you know, it was kind of hard for her dad and mom to kind of get pregnant. And so they adopted, and that was me, Brandon. I've been adopted, Brandon, right? And that's why." So it's also saying maybe that's why Steve Sanders has been acting up a little bit more Stevie Sanders, you know what I'm saying, throughout these episodes and showing why he's a little prick and he's going through it, right? So that's it. So they're talking V-Card and Steve Sanders' adoption is really what the two main things. So they always do two things on these episodes. They always do something that stands out a little bit farther in front, and then they got like a little shadowy thing that somebody else in the group is working on. So Brandon talks him down and says, "Hey," and it's also Steve's birthday, and he's like, "Happy birthday, man." You know, he's doing that Midwest thing. Kelly Taylor wins the fucking spring queen, right? I mean, who else would beat Kelly Taylor, right? I mean, who would really beat Kelly Taylor? I mean, West Beverly, they ain't getting no better. So Kelly wins the spring thing. And there's a guy named Brad Phillips that wins the spring king, right? And then David Silver, he's hosting this whole thing all dressed up. And then David Silver's like, "All right, guys, up next, we're going to see who has the slickest moves," right? He literally says the slickest moves, right? And we all know on Beverly Hills 90210 who has the slickest moves, all right? I mean, if you're a fan of Beverly Hills 90210 like we are here on 90210 for show, you know the fucking... You know David Silver has the slickest moves, all right? So cut to the commercial, comes back, and guess who's just getting fucking white boy down? You know what I'm saying? Like white boy down, arms out, legs are swinging, legs are kicking. It's David Silver fucking out there. They're like, "That dude's Jewish." You'll be like, "No way he dances like that, he's Jewish." And you're like, "No, man, that dude, he's straight up Jewish and he knows how to dance." You know what I'm saying? And he's going to turn out to be a hot piece of ass, too, when he gets older. And you're like, "David Silver?" And you're going to be like, "Fucking A." David's just out there cutting a rug, right? Cut to Andrea. Never came to the dance. She's at home. She thought she was going to be hanging around with Brandon and her playing nipples. You know what I'm saying? On the couch watching my science project or something like that on VHS at her grandma's house. Guess what? Andrea pops up. She goes, "You know what, Mom? You got your gown," right? She gets her fucking gown. Like she tells her mom to go get her fucking gown. And Andrea jumps up, puts that fucking gown on, takes a cab to fucking West Beverly spring fucking dance, pops out in like a, you know, Jewish wedding lady dress or something like that. You know, sorry about that, my mouth's getting a little dry. Cut to David just ripping it up. Cut to poor Donna not having a good time in this big fucking Mexican queen fucking red dress that she looks beautiful in. I mean, I tell you what, my wife's Mexican. I'd love to get her in a red dress like that. Anytime my wife's straight up 100% Mexican. Anytime my wife gets in a red dress, it's like impossible for me not to fuck her in it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, there ain't no way that you're going to put like first of all, you put any woman in a red dress, you're like, she's going to get some wiener in her life, right? Otherwise, don't put the red dress on. It's like, I'm like a bull or something. It's like, as soon as you see it, you're like, but let's get back to this, all right? So Kelly puts the moves on Brandon. Brandon says, "Look, I know you too well, all right? You know, blah, blah, blah. Let's just be friends." Kelly's like, "Whoa, nobody's ever done that to me." Also, Brandon comes up to Kelly and goes, while she's on her little throne, he goes, "Hey, why don't you come off your throne and go into the back room and old adoption Steve over there it's his birthday and nobody's saying hi to him or nothing like that. You know Steve." She goes back there and has a moment with Steve. They say the meanest shit to each other. This is a really mean scene right here with Steve. You know, like Steve's basically calling fucking, he let Kelly have it. I mean, he said, "You're a thoughtless and spoiled." He called her defective. I think she called him thoughtless and spoiled. He called her defective. Can you believe? Like, that's real mind fucking with you, especially if she was like a young woman. You're like, you're defective. It's like, telling a young teenage girl that she's defective, that's a good way to get her start puking on purpose. You know what I'm saying? Saying he's thoughtless and spoiled. Steve's father, Steve never met Kelly's father, so they played that card in there. And just as long as your father keeps the money coming in, you don't care. And then Kelly's like, why'd you ruin my night? And he goes, because you never cared about me. And then Kelly was like, because deep down inside, Steve, you're a jerk, right? Yeah, man. This was a good episode, man. If anybody wants to watch this episode, man, Jesus Christ, it was good. It was episode 20, season 1. All right? This was an excellent fucking episode. You know? I give it out to him, man. There was a band playing. I was trying to figure out who the fucking band was. I know that the Rave Ups. I don't know much about the Rave Ups, but that's what the band was while they're playing at this thing, right? But this was a good episode, man, because you got some drama in it. Kelly and Brandon, man, they're kissing. That shit was like, whoa. Kelly, fucking Brandon's an idiot, right? So basically, another huge thing that happened this episode. Brenda and Dylan, they had sex, okay? Brenda lost her V card. If anybody doesn't know that, that's the virginity card, all right? He popped that pussy. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I had to say it. I mean, what do you want me to do? I got to get something out of this. I'm 41, almost 42. I'm doing a 90210 podcast in my fucking basement, and I can't be naughty on this a little bit. I mean, teenagers are having sex while there's a pop-ups band or something like that. Fucking the Rave Ups playing. All right, David Silver's fucking arm dancing, leg dancing, like popping them out and stuff. Pretty embarrassing. Like dancing then, it's like, what the fuck is this? Right? Andrea shows up. Brandon says, Andrea, you know what? If you weren't so fucking a Jew virgin, I'd fucking get at that ass. He didn't really say that, but they got that feeling. And then they make up, and everybody's friendly this episode. This was a really good episode. Donna's having a good time finally. Boy, Brenda was so happy to lose her virginity, though. I mean, Dylan was like, Brenda, you're glowing, right? Because she knew, and she ran up to Kelly, and basically while Kelly was on the throne and being like, congratulations, you won. And she's like, why are you so happy? And she's like, Dylan just popped my chair. He's like, oh my God. Yeah. Kelly asked Brenda, why are you so disgustingly happy? Right? And then she told her, like, yeah, we fucking did the dirty up in there. It's teenager style. Yeah, man. Anyways, David wins the fucking slickest moves, all right? Then they all kind of dance with each other. David gets creepy on Kelly as he's dancing with her. He basically said, you know what? You smell exactly like I thought you would. Wow, what a fucking... David wanted that Kelly fucking Taylor at first. That was like his first one where he was like, ooh, that's the one right there. But David, he was trying to bring it, man. But Kelly was always like, fuck you. Comes to find out later in the future, we know they become stepbrothers, and Mel Silver marries, Samantha, or what was it? Not Samantha Sanders, but Kelly's mom. And they marry up, and they have a kid named Aaron. And let me not get too far, all right? Gotta love 90210 history, right? So anyways, good episode. Virginity, adoption, Kelly's still the beautiful woman, and you get a little bit to know a little bit about the characters and stuff like that. This is a really good episode, man. This episode was episode 20, season 1. Looked like it was aired. You're talking, boy, when was this aired? Usually it says it on here. I don't see it. I really don't see it on here. I'm so sorry. It was May 2nd, 1991. What were you guys doing May 2nd, 1991? I'm pretty sure I was a sophomore in high school, or was that a freshman? I think I was like a sophomore or freshman. I can't remember. I think it was a sophomore by then. And it was a sophomore for sure, man. So I was almost the age of these guys. I think that's why I love these episodes. 90210, always tackling the great topics. And even for having season 1, episode 20. I mean, season 1, you're talking season 1 had 21 episodes? I mean, 21 episodes for a season. That's pretty ridiculous for their first season. And what a first season it was. I mean, when you start at the first episode, October 4th, 1990, Class of Beverly Hills, I mean, you're talking, even the quality of the episode was much different. You could tell they didn't have the budget there. So you're talking by October 4th, 1990, and by February, you're talking February, or I'm sorry, May 2nd, 1991. So October to May 2nd, they already did 20 episodes, right? And they probably didn't even do that bullshit thing where it's like, we're going to do like 10 episodes, we're going to take like 2 months off and we'll come back. Like that fucking shit they do.